Yes, soon. Alrighty. Hello. Hello, hello. How is everybody? We are live. We're doing things. Um, it is still just me. Everybody else is basically on hiatus until January. So, you're hanging out with me again. Hopefully that's cool. As you guys have seen, the topic is going to be on the paranormal process. Now, this is something a little bit different. We're actually going to be going over different things than the typical. You know, I'm not going over necessarily how evidence should be gathered. A lot of people go over that. We go over that. We're actually going to be teaching classes on that starting by spring at the shop that you guys can get in the middle of. But I'm talking about the actual process, the correct process. So we're going to be jumping into that here in just a moment. Tiff and Trish are also live. If they haven't ended it already, they are live over on the Jeweled Phoenix page. Hello, hello. If you guys are interested in anything that we have going on, hey, Shauna, go check it out. We've got basically a good 70% of the store is on sale. You guys go do the thing if you're interested. That's going to be up for a while. Also, we are still taking donations for the Phoenix Tree, which is in association with Mr. Ken Boggle himself. And this is for New Leaf awareness and recovery. Recovery and awareness, whichever one. I always get that mixed up. But we are still taking donations for that charity. Also, if you guys haven't noticed, our buddy Keith needs a little bit of help. So if you guys have the little bit of extra, every little bit goes a long way. Even if it's just being able to support him, reaching out to him, giving him a hi, giving him a what's up, letting him know that people are with him, that's just as important. But if you can donate, please donate if you can. His link is still up, and he is still in need. For those that don't know, Keith went through a pretty traumatic fire and has been rebuilding his home himself through a series of very unfortunate events, including cyber scamming. He has lost his funds and now is basically living in an unfinished home and needs some help to either A, finish the home, or B, continue to go. So if you guys don't mind, please at least take a look at his link and what's going on. Things are going to be slim until January. January, everything is going to start fresh, new, because it is a fresh and new year. And we're going to have a bunch of shit going next year that is all dealing with you guys. A bunch of new classes, bunch of awesome events at the shop that you guys can get in the middle of, including drum circles and rune classes, tarot classes by Mr. Ken Boggle. We've got our paranormal investigation classes that we're going to be starting that everybody has been interested in. We've got a lot going. We've got a lot of fun stuff. So stay tuned for that. We've also got some interesting leads on a couple of interesting events that we may be at. We are not going to be at New Jersey next year. We still want you guys to go and support it. We still want you guys to give John and Christy your love. We just can't afford to go. And that's pretty much the big deal. That's just the bottom line. So we won't be there. But we are going to be at a couple of different events, and who the fuck knows? You guys, we have heard the masses, both of our Canadian brethren and our Michigander friends, and who the hell knows? You may see us at Michigan Paracon. So, here's looking forward to some weirdness in 2023. This will be the second to the last official, now notice how I'm using that word, official live stream that we are doing. The Friday forecast that I do tomorrow night will be the last official live stream that we do for 2022. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to get my fat bearded face on here and say some bullshit throughout the rest of the remaining time. But what it does mean is that this Friday will be the last of our regularly scheduled live streams. To be honest, it's so that I can at least have a week or so off. Not gonna lie. The week between Christmas and New Year's, you won't see me. So it's pretty much this week and next week. And next week, I'm cutting it Wednesday. So as of Wednesday next week, I won't be doing any more live streams unless it's just a hey, popping in to tell you guys this, or if I'm on with Tiff and doing the thing that. Sup, sugar? And you guys may notice, but the beard, she is tame, and it is all thanks to Miss Bridget Hagee. She and her family saw, to give me an awesome Christmas present in the way of beard care product. So a big shout out to them. I'm ecstatic. Actually, this is probably the most managed my beard has been in a minute. And it's not that I don't put shit in it, because I do. It's the fact that I touch anything in the form of water and my beard poofs fucking everywhere and then goes nuts. I comb it. I comb it in the shower, when I get out of the shower, when I dry it after I get out of the shower, and then halfway through the day. It does what the fuck it does. But I finally found a beard oil in what Bridget and her family gave me that is actually getting it to where it won't dry up, which is part of the reason why it just goes fucking everywhere. But enough about my beard and how awesome I think it is, because I have wonderful friends and students that decided to give me a gift. We're going to get into the big thing proper. We had a great and wonderful time at the local event, the Mystical Market, this last weekend. Big applause for Mr. Raymond Newsom in the comments there. He is our newest trainee and did a fantastic job. Also, shout out to Mr. Tyree as well. He did a great job here at the local event. The two of them hit it out of the park. And I was actually able to get up and walk for a little bit, because I could trust the kids to play nicely. All jokes aside, I really appreciate, and I just want to say this before I get started with the main topic. I really appreciate every one of you trainees and students, first and foremost, because you guys bring new blood to it. You bring new life to the team. You also bring new perspectives to the team, and you help us grow as well while we're in the middle of training you. Some of you don't need the training as far as what it is you need to do with your gifts, but it's just building that particular chemistry. Fuck, Raymond, you are, but just by 3 months. Fuck yourself. Anyway, Raymond's comment, kids, LOL, we're older than you. No, buddy, it's not the years, it's the mileage. But I do want to thank you guys. Renee's another trainee. Bridget's a student. Allied, basically, you may as well call yourself a student, because you pretty much are. You've taken all of our classes. All of you guys are, just amazing people. And you show us that what we do is worth it. You show that there are people out there that actually do care about what it is that we do. And that it's worth being a part of. It also shows us that it's okay to be us. There's a lot of times that you students and trainees wind up calming us way the fuck down when we're stressed. And it's a very awesome thing. So there is that bit. I do want to get sappy for a minute, and I do want to give a big shout out to the team as a whole. Spirit Mechanics is what it is because we are that group of individuals that come together for a singular goal. And we've proved time and time again that, it's worth it. A lot of times what we do is a thankless job. We are volunteers 100% of the time. And most of you guys have 9-to-5 jobs. And then you do this on the weekends when you should have your time off. There's a lot of appreciation that slides through the cracks. And I believe that you guys deserve more than what you're owed. I can't give that. The team as an entity can't give that yet, but I still don't want to let you guys go unappreciated for anything you do. So now that the sappiness is over, we're coming off of Thanksgiving and into Christmas, and I'm doing the sappy end of year thing that I always do. I get teary-eyed every year that we're able to go and talk to new people and see new people and help them with what it is that they need help with. It does. It makes me a weepy old man. It makes me a giggly bitch too. But, all right. So while you guys are comparing ages in the comments there, I wanted to talk tonight, at least briefly, because I think people get a very large misunderstanding when it comes to what paranormal investigation actually is. So there is ghost hunting on this hand, way the fuck over here, right? And then there's paranormal investigation in this hand, way the fuck over here. They may overlap, but they're two very, very different processes, and their goals are very, very different. So let's break down ghost hunting. To put it simply, you're looking for an experience. You want to go and get spooked. You want to possibly see some shit that you can't normally see. And a lot of times when you're ghost hunting, there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of buildup. There's a lot of ghost stories. There's a lot of, this is what happened, and a lot of people see this thing, and a lot of people notice this thing, and a lot of people feel this thing in these specific spots. Well, if you're being told what it is you should notice, where you should notice it, you're already subconsciously looking for it. There's a subliminal message that's not so subtly being planted that goes, you should get spooked here. You should notice something funky in this area. And whether or not you go into it a skeptic or you go into it a full believer, there is going to be something that happens there. You're going to get some weird feeling that you can't explain, and 9 times out of 10, it's just your anxiety. It's your reflex action. So, it's great. It's great to go out and have that kind of experience. Quite honestly, we love doing it too. We love going out, being a part of the crowd. It means that we don't have to fucking work. If we're being honest, we don't have to fucking work. We're not there to get rid of it. We're there to hang with it. There's a difference. You're going for the experience and not the knowledge experience. You're going for the experience. You're going for the atmosphere. You're going for it. That's the whole point. However, paranormal, I will word correctly in a moment, paranormal investigation is completely different. Paranormal investigation is not going for the experience. It is to prove or disprove. You are going because you have experience. To show people that things exist or that they don't. That is a completely different situation, because we're going from going and hanging out with your buddies in a haunted house to going in as a group of scientists and testing theories. It's a situation where, okay, these people claim that these things are happening. Let's go in, try to debunk it. Well, we can't debunk it. All right, let's see if we can capture it. Some kind of evidence, some kind of recording or video, some kind of situation that we can take record of. Red light district, absolutely. But that's the whole point of it. To an investigator, that is what is fun. Going on a ghost hunt's great. Gets you into a lot of locations that you would typically, fight tooth and nail to get a reservation for. But it's not a true investigation. It's so contaminated half the time that you don't really get much. And it's very difficult to get by yourself to where you can. Whereas the paranormal investigative team goes in and literally, we're talking the entire night. You can go and nothing fucking happens. Whereas there's that one time that you go there and the place comes alive. The place comes alive. It's a bunch of things that happen that you can't disprove. And yes, Raymond, I just love to hear you get cussed at, because it's fucking funny to me. At least it's not me when that happens. So, let's start this particular process. Now, this is how you can tell an actual paranormal team from a group of hobbyists that just want a chance to test out their new toys. So, the biggest thing that you're going to have is this paranormal team is going to scrutinize what it is that you say is evidence. They will ask you for pictures. They will ask you for recordings. They will expect them. If you tell them that there is evidence and you do not have evidence, that is an instantaneous red mark on your fucking sheet. If you tell them, I would like someone to get evidence or to debunk it so that I know whether or not I'm fucking nuts, and they come out and do it then, that's fine. But if you tell someone that you have evidence, you had better present it. There's two reasons why this is necessary. The first one's obvious. If you say you have it, then we want to see it. The reason why is we want to enjoy it. 1. 2, we want to scrutinize it. By God, all the fucking videos of orbs. All the fucking videos of orbs. I love each and every one of you, but any of you that subscribe to orbs, prove it. Fucking prove it. And I will show you a bunch of videos that are dust, bugs, or lens flare. We're going to scrutinize it. The reason why is we want to know because you want to know if it's there. And we don't want to tell you it's not if it is. And we want to be able to tell you, that it is if it is. Next thing, a good investigative team is going to do a background check on you. Love you guys, love y'all to death. We are going to check you out. If you want us to come to your home and we don't know you, at least a basic background check is going to go down. Do we care that you have unpaid parking tickets? No. Do we care that you dropped out of college so many years ago? No. Do we care that you're 3 times divorced? No. We just want to make sure that we're not going to get stabbed, stole from, or thrown in a closet for the rest of our lives when we come to your house. Any investigative team is going to do these things. See this comment here. You have to vet the client. It's okay for the client to vet the teams as well. Absolutely. Fuck, check us out. We're literally everywhere. We don't hide from anybody. Our work speaks for itself. We've got shout-outs on Twitter from paranormal celebrities. We've got multiple testimonies from multiple households and families. We've got our entire life stories and bios up on the web page, and fuck, we're here every week, at least a couple times a week, live with you guys, pouring our hearts out. Shit, yeah, go ahead, check us out. If you have beef, you have beef. If you don't, cool, let's get it. Yeah, and I did. I think that's. Let's see who this is. Yeah, Keith. Let's call it what it is. Yeah, I did. I checked him. I check every one of our clients, and if I don't do it, Missy does. Howdy. It's a thing that's necessary. That way, we can be responsible for ourselves, and we have to be accountable for ourselves as well, both on your side and on ours. It's a way for both of us to protect ourselves from bullshitters, number 1, and from harm, number 2. So far, we're going to scrutinize evidence that you say you have, and 2, a good investigative team is going to do background checks on the people that they're going to go see. Expect these things and expect them to take their time. It doesn't mean that the investigative team believes as though you are a liar. It doesn't mean that they don't believe that you are having some kind of situation. However, these things need to be had. We need to see proof of it. We also need to know, once again, that we're not going to get knifed or stole from when we come over. The next thing is, we don't want your personal information. If any fucking investigative team flat out asks you for anything more than what it is they need to run a basic background check, then you need to fucking bounce from them and not talk to them. Seriously. Now, another thing that is going to be asked by any good investigative team is if you are or have had issues with psychiatric problems. If you have them or if you have had, I will properly word that because grammar is escaping me tonight. But if you have or have had psychological problems. Now, I'm not talking about just depression. Everybody fucking has that. Not talking about anxiety. Anybody can get that. I'm talking about actual psychological problems. Things like schizophrenia specifically. Things like BPD or straight personality disorder. Yeah, damn me and my words. You know, these kinds of things we have to know about. Whether or not they're managed, whether or not you're in therapy. We don't need to know your ins and outs of your life, but we do need to understand this because it does change. One, the way we approach the case, and two, the way we approach evidence. Because here's the thing, and this is a little bit of a sidebar, but it's in the same category, and this is for those of you who are on investigative teams or teams like Spirit Mechanics that go in and help with house cleansings. If it is a psychiatric issue, say it is schizophrenia, because that's the main go-to, because that's usually the one that deals mostly with intense hallucinations. Thanks, man. I'm on the stream and the cat decides to puke in the carpet behind me twice, apparently. So the thing about this is that the person that is going through these situations and having these very intense hallucinations, that person is suffering from that. They are going through it. You may not be affected, but they are on a daily basis, all day, every day. You shouldn't take a case lightly just because the person has something like schizophrenia. And now he's trying to bury it. Bless you, buddy. But, and I'm being very serious about that. My house seems to come alive when I'm on a live stream. But you do need to actually pay a little bit more attention. If the person is managed, so they are seeing a psych doc, they are seeing a therapist, they are on a form of medication, yet they're still having these kinds of issues. One, when was the last time you saw your doc? Two, when was the last time you saw a adjustment to your meds? And then three, okay, now that we know that you're seeing the doc, your meds are straight, and you're still noticing this, now we can take it for what it's presenting itself to be. Aren't mentally ill more vulnerable to the spirit world? No more than anybody else. That is a theory that people are more susceptible or vulnerable to it, but no, not any more than anybody else. Their particular mental instability or illness may make it more difficult to understand what is, paranormal and what is real, or it can prevent certain blockages. So, the certain things that we go, now I'm not fucking dealing with that. I don't see that, or I'm not dealing with that, or whatever. It's not the right time, fuck off. Whereas a lot of us can do that. Some mental illnesses can cause those kinds of things to go, I don't have a filter between here and there. But does it really make them any more vulnerable? No, it really doesn't. the way that they view it is a lot more intense, but that's about it. Me too, buddy. But, so those are things to think about. If the person is not managed, if they are not taking meds, if they have not seen psych, and they're like, I'm seeing shit in my house. I have a history of schizophrenia, but I stopped going to the doc because I think doctors are stupid, and I threw all the pills out because taking them just seemed pointless. At that particular point, you should stop immediately what you're fucking doing and go until you start to see a doctor. We will not investigate your home. I will say that again. Until you are seeing a doctor and on medication, or at least going through treatment, we will not investigate your home. There's 2 reasons for that. One is you will be feeding that particular mental illness and you will inevitably make it worse. 2, you won't be helping that particular person find what it is that they need to get through the day-to-day. You're actually going to be a hindrance to their mental health, which is not going to do anything for what is going on in their home. And 3, truthfully, any evidence that you give is either going to wind up being, shoved into a corner of the mind, or it's going to be so hyper-fixated on that is the only thing they think about. You need to be able to differentiate and detach. Give a treatment for what's going on in the meantime. Stay in contact with. But until someone is properly managed, either A, through therapy, or B, on medication, you do not do the thing. You won't be helping, you will be hindering. I promise. So, now, we've got the whole scrutinizing evidence thing. We've got the whole doing the mild background check thing. And now we've got the psych check thing. Guess what's coming next? Chronic illnesses. Do you have chronic illnesses? Things like epilepsy. Things like neurological disorders. Things like TBIs. Things like, or if you have something that is more of in a physical nature, but yet you're feeling touches and pulls and, burns and things. Do you have a history of neuropathy? Do you have fibromyalgia? Do you have MS? Do you have lupus? These things are important to fucking know. Next on the list, see, notice how investigation differs. You can just grab your fucking shit and walk into some abandoned warehouse when you're ghost hunting. Notice how investigation is a little bit more in-depth and a lot more like work. So, after that, then we go to the house. As far as an exhibit, we're still not to the point to where we're going to knock on the door, right? How old's the house? Is everything up to code? Is the wiring good? Do you have a breaker box, or are you running on old school fuses? Where is your bed? Is it located close to the breaker box? Are you sleeping under it? How many appliances are in every room, as far as major appliances? Obviously, the kitchen's going to be fucking full of them, but you don't sleep and hang out in there too much. So, What do you got going on in your bedroom? What do you got going on in the living room? What do you got going on here? Keith just nailed it in the comments. And I'm seeing comments scroll. I'm just catching the ones that I catch. But EMF. EMF is the number one, I swear to you, it is one of the number one causes of hallucinations in the home, other than mental illness itself. The reason why is after a prolonged exposure to an intense EMF. Do you have any power lines over the house? Yeah, power lines over the house can make EMF a little bit of a thing, but they have to be low. So they need to be the ones that are either connecting to the home directly, so the ones that come from the pole and go straight to the house, or they need to be very low to the house. If they're on a pole that's way up here and they're doing the damn thing, then you don't have to really stress it as bad. Because most homes, at least any of the newer codes, shield against certain waves, so you don't really have to stress that. But yeah, if they're low hanging to the house, 100%. But prolonged exposure to EMF creates something that is known as EMR, which is electromagnetic radiation. Thank you for the stars. Very much so. So it's something to think about. EMR can actually display in a number of different ways. All of these are what most people would claim as a paranormal incident. You will start to see shit. You will start to lose sleep. You will maintain headaches. You will get nauseous. It'll feel as though ants are crawling on your skin. You'll get intense pains in major nerve clusters in your body after a while. And then you will take on flu-like symptoms. You can get ill from extreme and prolonged exposure. There's a theory, notice how I'm putting that, there is a theory that EMR can cause cancer. Now, can I prove that? No. Can anybody else prove that directly? No, but it is a theory. But my thought would be that you would have to be exposed to intense EMR for well over a decade for that to be a fucking even a thought. So, I saw somebody bring up radon and CO2. Yes, radon and CO2 poisoning. Both of these things can cause the same kind of issues. Is your house made of brick? If so, is it well insulated? Is your house made of wood? If so, how old is the wood? How old is the house? Do you have original wood flooring, or do you have subfloor? Because pops and cracks and bangs come at any fucking time the temperature changes. What kind of piping do you have? Is it copper? Is it galvanized? Is it PVC? Is it some kind of, new, I know they do some kind of polymer thing with vinyl now. Is it any of that? As it swells and compresses, it'll pop. It'll whistle. It'll do a number of different things. It'll ping, like something's knocking on metal. Mold's another one. Black mold especially in the home can make you extremely fucking ill. Especially if it gets in your lungs. It can fucking kill you. Keith's comment there. It's a number of different things that we're going to ask. If there's a problem with any of these things, we're going to tell you to fix them first before we come out. Most of these are just as simple as tightening a couple of bolts or piping, the couplers, tightening the couplers and pipes or whatever. Do you take hallucinogenics? Sometimes. But and as a sidebar, as far as hallucinogenics, most of the people that I've dealt with that have had paranormal activity and actually took hallucinogenics had more fucking activity than the ones that are plain cold sober and never done a drug in their life. It's the strangest thing, because what's interesting is that they actually see the shit directly when they're high as fuck. Am I saying that you should go get high as fuck? Absolutely not. I don't condone that. That's not a wink. I know you can't tell because of the sunglasses. That is not a wink. I literally don't condone that. What you decide to do is your business. But most people who, especially if they dose with mushrooms, wind up able to see. And it's the most hilarious thing to me in the world, because it scares the fuck out of them. And some people do take them to have an experience. I know a lot of people that are actually certified. They've actually got license to give you doses. And the reason for it is mushrooms are used a lot of times in intense depression therapy. There's a lot of uses for it, but, obviously taking it recreationally is not cool until it is, which it's not. But you didn't hear that from me. The cool part. Anyway, moving on, all jokes aside, what you do in your own time is your own business. I've done the thing before. I can recommend it if you haven't. But do I do it on a daily fucking basis? Absolutely not, and I don't think anybody else should. Alrighty. So now we have literally gone from you top to bottom to your house top to bottom. Now we're going to look at the history of the property itself. How old is it? Who's owned it before? What was it ever used as? What was put on it? What was buried in it? We're going to know the ins and outs. And lastly, and notice how I'm putting this, lastly, we're going to ask for your impression. What is it that you've been having happen to you? What's been going on, really? Now, if you can present evidence, you wind up clean as far as your background check. Your house is up to code. There's no issue there. And you genuinely have shit going on. That's when your investigators can come in and do the thing. Now, usually we don't have the luxury of doing this just because of the nature of what it is that we do and the fact that all of us have some form of schedule to keep that requires us to be responsible, whether that is family, job, or family and job. That's just how it goes, unfortunately. But a good investigative team will at least take an entire night. Elwood. So an investigative team will actually take an entire night, at least, or an entire day. The reason for this is you can't collect a hell of a lot of evidence in just a few hours' time. You need time. You need the ability to test. You need the ability to look for the things that you might be able to get from the history of the property or what the family has told you. And then you need to be able to look for what is outside of that. A lot of teams are able to go in and spend the entire day and the entire night. We can't do that on half of these cases. If you want us to just come in and investigate, by God, we'll show the fuck up at 9 a.m. and we'll leave 9 a.m. the next day. But if we're coming in to clean your house, we don't have that kind of ability. Because usually we're traveling for 5 ever, and we have to drive 5 ever back to where we came from. But in the midst of this, they may ask you to leave the home. You need to be secure with that. If you're asking them to come and do the thing, if they ask you to leave the house for at least a couple hours, you need to trust them in that. If you can't trust them with that, if you don't feel comfortable, that's okay. But do your best to stay out of the evidence. Notice how I didn't say stay out of the way. I said stay out of the evidence. So when it's obvious no one else is talking, don't talk. When it's obvious no one else is moving, don't move. It's very simple. It's that whole monkey see, monkey do, that whole game of follow the leader. That's literally what happens. If you do stick around, expect to be in the middle of it at some particular point in time. If the evidence is happening to you in your home, you will be asked to participate. Now, on that particular end, you will not be asked to be bait by a good paranormal team. You may be asked to ask questions. You may be asked to sit or lay in your bed if you experience, issues there. You may have to, walk down the hallway when you're afraid of it. Go into the basement with somebody else if you're afraid of it. Reason why, we need to know why. We need to know why it's happening to you in these spots and how it's going down. What is this? that was challenging, but I think we picked up on it quick. And it's not as difficult as you think. It's really not. It's important to trust your investigators. If you're calling them or even hiring them to come out and do the thing for you, you need to trust, because you did your background, right? You did your checking. You need to be able to trust them to know what it is that they're fucking talking about and doing. That's the biggest end of your end, is having some faith in the people that you call out. Lastly, good investigators will get you what little bit of evidence they were able to get. They will not hoard it. They will not keep it to themselves. Also, you will be asked if this evidence can be used in any way. As long as people weren't mentioned by name, address wasn't given, that whole thing. If it's just the investigators on the screen, but they are at your home, do they have permission? You will be asked that. These are important things. The next thing is that on your end, you're going to be asked if you're comfortable. And the thing that you need to... What? Boy? You and your turd brethren, why don't you go on somewhere, sir? Daddy's on a live stream. Damn it. Fuck. But they're going to be asking if you're okay. In general. All the time. They're going to be gauging how it is that you feel. If at any time you feel uncomfortable with anything that is happening, or you just don't get a good vibe, by God, tell them. I don't know what it is, but something is telling me that this isn't good. Or, something just feels off. I don't feel comfortable. I'm, feeling really anxious about this. I don't think it's a right fit. Fucking tell them. And your investigative team should have, the maturity to go, okay, I get it. All right, I understand. We're not the best fit, or a team member skeeves you out, whatever the situation is, we can try again some other time, or we can put you in touch with a different team. Transparency on both fucking sides is needed. It's not just a respect thing. It's needed so that everybody is on the same page. While we're in the house as an investigative team, yes, all the gadgets, all the cameras, all the toys come out. They mean to find certain evidence. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but all of it comes out at once. And usually, methodically, room by room, each room is tested, and then tested again, and then tested a third time. And then the rooms that actually show activity are the ones you camp out in. There's a lot that goes on with this kind of thing. Now, after all that, there's two different types of investigations. That's what I meant by transparency, Keith. I got you though, man. Keith says that honesty on both sides is needed as well. But there's two different types of investigations. One is residential. That obviously means somebody's fucking house. You're rolling up into someone's house and checking out their haunted garage, their haunted shed, or their haunted man cave, their haunted she shed, whatever. You're checking out the premises to unhaint the haints. And two is what I like to refer to as either a public or an open investigation, which is where you go into locations that are known hotspots that may locally be investigated all the time, but you and your team have them for a specific amount. So you guys rent the place for an evening, or you guys get the place for a weekend or whatever. At that point, it's your spot to investigate, but it's open the rest of the time to anybody who wants to come. Now, residentials are going to have, in my opinion, now this is my opinion, and this is based off of the countless fucking cases I've taken and the countless places that I've investigated, but most of the time you see the hardest hitting things and get the best evidence from residentials. The reason why is it's not over fucking saturated with people. So the places that are open, they're public investigations, they're open investigations. You have to think about how many fucking people go in and out that door all day, every day. And then you have to think about, if it's not all day, every day, how many events they have where they have mass droves of people showing up. When you go in and you are looking for activity, you have to understand that these entities need a great deal of electromagnetic energy in order to do any fucking thing. They need a whole lot, and that's the reason why you can get them to talk, Raymond. But they need a whole lot of energy in order to interact. And it takes so much to do just a small action for some of them. So if you have 40, 50, 60 fucking people in one spot, all asking for the entity to do the same fucking thing, even if they are nice enough to try and do it, they're only going to have enough in them to do it once or twice. So what do you think's going to happen if that's all day, every day, or at least all weekend, every weekend? That's what I mean by oversaturation. You can legitimately destroy the paranormal activity in a space just by oversaturation of people. Not to mention, you can actually disrupt the flow of it simply because those that are still with it up here are going to go, I'm tired of fucking touching your light. I'm tired of fucking talking into your box. I'm tired of being commanded like a dog. Shut the fuck up and leave. They are people too. At least the ones that are still human. They are people too. So when you invade someone else's home, unannounced, uninvited, and then you're rude enough to tell them what to do in their space, what would you do? Seriously, what the fuck would you do? Who the fuck are you? Get the hell out of my house. Kills me. Well, we're going back to do the same place again and again and again and again. All these fly-by-night, ghost hunting, extravaganza fucking package deals. And half the time, unless you're really fucking good at getting the spirits to talk, like one Mr. Raymond there, you don't get dick. You pay a shit pot of money to sit around with a bunch of people you don't know and listen to crickets chirp. This is something to really think about. So when your paranormal investigation team, see how I'm bringing it back there? When your team goes, how often have you talked with, interacted with, had people come to your home to do these things? How long? How often? What they're doing is they're gauging how quickly they need to come to your home. Because in order for them to actually move something across or to find evidence of it, it needs to be strong enough to give you something. Petrified Wood's a ground, but it also helps you kind of deep dive into fucking past lives and ancestry. But, you know, I wear hematite too, so. Just caught the comment. So think about that kind of thing as well. Lastly, on this particular end, and this is personal opinion, you know, I try to view things as unbiased as possible. However, on this particular one, I'm a little biased because I've seen what goes on behind the scenes at a few things, and I know people who know people, and I actually know people. If you're going to do investigation, understand that it is a lot of work for a little bit of evidence. Understand that you are doing a service. You're providing peace of mind, you're providing answers for other people, and you're gaining evidence to prove the legitimacy of what it is that you do. If you're doing it for your 15 minutes of fame, to get you some footage for a TV show, to, you know, just add this home or this location to your list of shit that you've done for a resume, for a chance to be on one of these bigger teams, then you need to understand that you're just a fucking ghost hunter. You're just in it for the thrill and the possibility of a little bit of money. Because I'll tell you this much. A paranormal investigator don't make money. Don't make money. Nope. That's why most of us have fucking 9 to 5s. Don't make money at it. Because you're not there to make money. You're there for the people. But a ghost hunter? Yeah, fuck yeah. You can jump on a video camera. You know, do your holy shit, what was that? While your buddy's running back and forth across the hallway down there. And people are throwing shit over your head to make noise. You know, you can make all the money in the world doing that. Don't take talent to be a ghost hunter. Don't take effort to be one either. Don't take integrity or dignity either. Just something to think about. Am I saying that you can't go to these ghost hunting tourist traps and do the damn thing? Fuck no. Like I said, we do it. We have fun at it. By God, the things that we see, we laugh at or laugh with, and then let everybody else go about the business. But what I'm saying is that if you're in it just for the wrong reasons, don't expect people that are actually legitimate to take you legitimately. A real investigator is one that lives in service to others and in service to the science. If you're going to be an investigator, hold your head high, keep your chest out, keep your nose clean. Be a decent human fucking being, and you're going to find that you have a lot more fun than you think you would. And you're going to see a lot more cool shit than you think you would. Chaps my ass. Can't you tell? I might have, just maybe, I might have a little bit of a lost respect for a few people. But it's due. Or $8,000. Oh, and that's kind of the way it is. That's the way it should be. The paranormal process is one that is tried and true when it's held to that particular standard and is 100% successful 100% of the time. It's a way for you to stay safe as investigators. It's a way for you to stay safe as people asking for investigators. And it's a way for both of you to get the right answers. don't don't run like a little girl when you get the proof or reaction you asked for. Absolutely. Fuck. Like, that's the cool part. Why the fuck are you running from it? That's the cool part. That's what you were wanting, right? Like, shit's sake, now. You can tell that I spent Thanksgiving with my Southern Kentucky family because my drawl is getting thicker as I talk about this shit. I had some groups charge a lot of money. Is that true? Or I heard some groups charge a lot of money. Is that true? Yeah, some groups do. Some groups do. They charge a stupid amount of money for a service that honestly, in my opinion, is not worth that kind of money. You want a group like us, you want a group like Keith's, you want Raymond, you want us to come out and do the thing for you, get us there, get us home, get us a sandwich, and we're golden. If you can give a little bit more, we'd appreciate it. If you can't give any more, then fuck it, we'll deal. That's how it is. We're not going to charge you an exorbitant amount of money to come out and help you out. That's fucking stupid. You're asking for help. You shouldn't be extorted in that process. Bacon sandwich. If we got to stay, put us up. You want us to do an investigation overnight? That's cool. We'll do the thing. We'll work. But put us up. Get us a cheap room somewhere, or throw us on a couch. That's it. But some people charge, upwards to $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $8,000. It's ridiculous. Sorry, I just caught Raymond's comment. It said, "Demon, let me take my shirt off." Oh, I'm fucking crying. Oh, that dumbass. Oh, jeez. Let's see, what is this here? And some keep claiming something new came in and then charge more. Yeah. It's dumb. It's ridiculous. It's dumb. Nobody should be extorted. No one should have to give more than what is absolutely necessary. unless, they just want to. We tell people all the time, we just charge expenses. Gas money, something to eat, and somewhere to stay if we have to stay. If it's within driving distance, we'll be there and back. It kills me how people just keep families hostage, basically. It's like, come on, y'all. Kills me too when people walk into someone's house and, smack entities on the ass and dare them to do something and then run away, leaving the family there to take the abuse. Kick up the dust. Get shit active. And then leave the family with the mess. And then charge them money for it. It's stupid. It's deplorable. I need to calm down. Because I got a couple people in mind that I'd like to smack the taste out their mouth right now. If we're being honest, as my face turns red on camera. Oh. It's not difficult to hold your team to a standard of just integrity. If you're going to be that person behind someone's back, you should be that person to their fucking face. Easy enough, right? It's not so hard for you and your team to have a little bit of dignity either. Carry yourself like a decent human fucking being and treat people like they're decent fucking human beings. Scruples, goddammit. Where the fuck are they? You don't see that shit anymore. You see a bunch of backyard fucking hooligans running around like they know fucking something when all they've watched is a couple of YouTube videos and charge out the ass because that's where they're making their fucking money. It makes me angry. It does. Why do you think I get on here and I talk at least once a month about something to do with paranormal investigation? It's so that hopefully those of you who do watch this, rewatch this, catch this later, hopefully, even if you're way in the fucking back there, let me speak a little louder so you can hear me. Hopefully, you guys will learn not to fucking be a jackass when it comes to this kind of stuff. And if you're already not one, maybe you'll gain some form of new knowledge. The goal is to educate each other. The goal is to keep each other up. The goal is to make sure that this fucking field, not industry, actually keeps what little bit of legitimacy it fucking has. There's too many ghost adventures. There's too many knockoffs of said ghost adventures. And there's too many that have been brought up thinking that that's the way that paranormal investigation should fucking be. It's amazing to me how often I'm asked if I either know Zach or what my opinion of him is. And it's very difficult for me to say the truth. I try my best to be Switzerland in all those kinds of situations. I really do. And to me, Zach, yes, at one time was a very legitimate paranormal investigator. He did the thing when he first started. Even when they first had the show, they used to find actual evidence. Anymore, it's just an hour's worth of TV that you get a cheap thrill off of when you can watch any fucking horror movie and get the same jump scare. And that's what a lot of people. Yeah, yeah, exactly, Linda. Now he's an actor. Good on him. Good on him. I don't wish any ill to him. He made it to where he wanted to make it. He's got the attention and the money he wanted. Good on him for reaching his goals. And I'm being serious. I'm not being passive aggressive. I'm being serious. I'm happy for him and what it is that he's found. But do I call him an investigator? No, I don't. Exactly. How many times can a person get possessed? Exactly. Which tells me that either A, the possession took root and didn't fucking leave, or B, he was never possessed to begin with. Now, which one do you actually think I believe? But I digress off of that because I went way far and beyond what I would typically do, and I actually gave my particular opinion. Because normally I try to stay as unbiased as possible. However, for the sake of this conversation and the fact that I needed to prove a point, I went ahead and did the thing. Jeez, man. It's so hard. It is. I'm going to bitch for just a second. Like, actually bitch for just a second. It is legitimately hard to be legitimate and have anybody take you seriously anymore. You have no idea how many people I talk to that have been, quote unquote, doing this forever and know all these big names. And I go and I talk to them about their process. And they go, "What process?" "Well, what experiments do you do?" "We don't do experiments." "Well, how do you get your evidence?" "Well, we run in and we provocate and, we push and we shove and act like jackasses until something fucking happens. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And if it does, it does." So if you're not able to get any kind of evidence and you're not able to further the field in any way by bringing some legitimacy through an experiment that yields results, are you still charging the people that you go in and take their time and their space for? Well, yeah. Why wouldn't I? You have no idea how often I literally have that particular conversation. You also have no idea how many people have friended me and Brian over the last year. Specifically, the last half of the year, after we did New Jersey. You have no idea how many fucking paranormal groups and agencies and societies and all this other stuff that have friended us and have honestly really just disappointed. Like this comment here, what about the dead that actually need help? Well, that doesn't matter to half these people. They're there for their cheap thrill at someone else's expense. They feel as though since it's happening at someone's house, that person is not out anything. They've already lived with it this long. If they go in and don't find it, or if they go in and it's, and leave them with it, well, they've dealt with it this long. They can continue to deal. Well, so what if they're fucking dead? They've been there and they've done the thing. Whatever. They're dead. What do they care? In most cases, I think that's probably Keith that's saying that. Yeah. And it's true. And actually, more so. A lot of times the dead are just as much a client as the living. In most cases, it's kind of the other way around. The dead are the ones that are actually in need, whereas the people just need to understand. If you're stuck when you die, you don't want to be on TV. You know what? I want to be that jackass that just comes through the spirit box and just goes, fuck you. That one ghost that's like corporeally forming in the background, just like shooting the twin birds. I just want to be that guy, just full on, just throwing the middle fingers up, and then all of a sudden, I'm gone. Like, fuck you guys. If I do get earthbound for whatever reason, that I am going to become that ghost. But, it's... Or squeeze their bladders to make them piss themselves. Nah, just hit them in the gut. I'm chilling at Keith's right now. What are you talking about? Like, legit, I'm chilling at Keith's right now. Fucker. No such thing as a locked door when you can astral project. Plenty of room, and he is. Yeah. But all these jokes aside and all of the bitching aside, be a decent human being. Don't just chase the experience, but chase the evidence. The best experiences are found when you're actually looking for it instead of forcing it. You find new things, new ways of doing. You find awesome ways of investigating that haven't been tried before. You wind up bonding with people. You wind up helping people. You wind up helping yourself. You wind up helping the dead. Just be decent and be decent about it. It's not hard. Do your fact checking. Do your evidence checking. Keep yourself straight. Keep your client straight. It's not hard. If, they offer a testimony, if they offer to allow you to use your evidence that you gathered for educational purposes, whatever, then awesome. You got a little bit to share. Use it in a lecture. Hey guys, we tried this method. This is what we found. This is what worked. Here's the evidence to prove it. Share it. This field has become a jaded, gated community. People hide their methods from others, and people, just hoard their evidence and they don't share it. We're supposed to be finding these answers together so that we can actually get a grasp as a people. Paranormal investigation is exploration into areas that we don't fully understand. The fun part is coming back and going, look what I found. Be that little kid that's out there looking for shiny shit. It may be a bottle cap one day, or it may be a shiny quarter the next, but look at what I found. Come on, guys. It's a simple process. It really is. If we're being honest, Allied, the experiment is legitimate. The show is probably not. The experiment is actually a legitimate experiment, and it has been done before. It just hasn't been recorded, to my knowledge. And it's true. The more a haunted location gets acquainted with who is there, the more active it does become, because either A, they understand that these people are there to get them to be active. B, they understand that, either all of or a portion of the team has the ability to hear, see, feel, whatever. Or C, they see victims. So yeah, it's an experiment that's used a lot, overseas especially. It's coming farther and farther west as the years progress, and the 28 days Netflix experience, I think, was the first time it's been openly done here in the U.S. But no, I don't think that the show is legitimate at all. When you... And that's why I was laughing about Raymond's comment when he was like, it said it was a demon and let me take off my shirt. That's legitimately a fucking part of that show. I swear to God, it's the most awesome thing I think I've seen. I got the biggest fucking laugh out of it. Their demonologist literally redneck throws down with what he refers to as a demon in the middle of a fucking investigation. Takes his shirt off and starts throwing hands, literally swinging at this fucking thing. I'm like, all right, dude. Like, holy fucking shit. But yeah, that's part of the 28 days thing, and I tried to go into it, and I'm like, all right, this is cool, because it's a very, legit. It was a legit thing. And I'm like, okay, gonna try, gonna focus, gonna watch, and then I was like, this is a fucking comedy. So, yeah, I don't take the 28 days thing seriously. The experiment 100%. I'll stand by that, and actually I want to try that. But the show, no. No, it's a fucking show. It's a fucking show. Hello, wife.
Hello.
Say hi to everybody.
Probably half the people I was just talking to a minute ago.
Probably. But dude, Keith, it's amazing. Like, it's amazing. If you go into it expecting legitimacy, you're going to be just really sadly mistaken. But if you go into it with what it actually is, which is a paranormal comedy show, it's fucking hilarious.
Well, that was just books.
Don't die. And that's true. You know, you were entertained. And if you find it to be a legitimate show, you know, if that's your bag, by all means, you know, watch it, check it out, you know, get the cool vibes from it. But I can't take it seriously, personally. I just can't. After watching dude do that, I was done with the entire situation.
Cause sure it was the whole thing?
It was, because when you watch a guy, you know, garble, garble, garble over a spirit box, it said it was a demon. He takes his fucking shirt off, like he's redneck throwing down in a fucking Dollar General parking lot, and starts literally throwing hands, swinging punches at something that is not coming up on any.
Was he on meth?
No, he's a demonologist. Yeah. See, now you understand.
Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, no, wait, he wasn't there.
Good old Jeremy. Good old Jeremy. He's my buddy. I want to shake that motherfucker's hand. I'm going 9 rounds with Mighty Asmodeus. But, all jokes aside, seriously, all jokes aside, watch these shows for what they are. They're shows. If you want to know what it actually is like, if you want to actually get the evidence to see if it's real, go do it. There's no substitute for it. Go do it. Don't just watch it. If you're going to watch it, expect to get what you get. It's all the fucking same. But, that being said, the wife is home, and I have run off at the mouth for a minute. So, love you guys. Forecast will be sometime tomorrow evening, just as it always is. And until then, and as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Remember that those that have the power to change themselves have the power to change the world around themselves. Love you guys.